You ready for the last episode of the 3 videos I've done for the Plant Paradox book review? I am so excited that despite this 90-degree weather we have in Minnesota today, I have decided, wait for the sun to go down a little bit and record. I just couldn't wait. Plus I was nervous. So here is the book, The Plant Paradox, The Hidden Dangers in So-Called Healthy Foods That Cause Disease and Weight Gain, by Stephen Gundry, MD, who's a cardiac surgeon. And for those of you who are listening instead of watching, it has a smushed tomato top on the cover. I really hope you take a look at this book. No, I'm not affiliate of his, meaning I'm not paid for this, but it's just an astonishing book if you want to reassess what it is you're eating and what's in it, especially if you have chronic conditions or if you want to get off your meds for whatever cause you have. I mean, I have ADHD and I would love to get off my meds for that, but that's not really why I'm reading the book. It's more like I'd like to smooth out my skin and figure out which oils I might be missing, yada yada. Plus, I'm just really interested in nutrition. I was raised in a family of physicians, and I feel like I had heard it all, seen it all, but there's always new information out there. So if you get nothing else out of this book review, think of it as one extra weapon in your arsenal of nutritional knowledge. If you think you've heard it all, read this one. He is funny. I mean, lectins are his main character. Lectins are this protein that you find in many foods that is meant to protect that plant from being eaten. And then it ends up in animals because they eat the plant. It is a protein that causes severe inflammation. It causes a huge amount of mess in the human body. But there are other factors playing into people's health. That's just one of them. But I had never heard of lectins before. Now there might be some repetition with the other videos I did. Oh well, so you'll hear it twice. I just wanted to highlight some of the things that I have learned in this last section of the book. Plus, he gives great recipes. He gives lists of which foods to avoid due to their high lectin content or which foods to add. Now, if you're doing an elimination diet, it is a bit challenging to look at the list, and yet it's not like you'll never eat them again. You're just testing to see whether that's what has been giving you swollen joints or a bad mood or whatever the case may be. Now let me describe really quickly again how the lectins work. I didn't realize until I read the book how thin the lining of our digestive system is. It's a cell thin. I mean, I was picturing something thicker for some reason. But basically, it's super easy for little pieces of stuff to fly through there, right? Imagine the Red Rover game, which I mentioned last time, that if you have big pieces, they shouldn't be sailing through as far as food into your digestive tract unless there's a hole in it. Well, lectins are the disruptor in the Red Rover game where you are essentially binding hands. I'm holding my hands together in case you can't see this. And they go poof, so they get through that digestive wall. Meaning what something wasn't supposed to go through does get through. That's the leak in the gut, as in leaky gut. It could be that, and they're not even that big piece, but they're sticky. They stick to things. So almost everything, well, pretty much every function in the human body is determined by the nervous system. Connections from nerve to nerve. Well, imagine if that, let's say my hand, the fingertips are the end of the nerves, and the cell is supposed to touch it for sending one message from nerve to nerve. Let's say Lily's hair needs to grow longer. Okay, well, if that receptor is covered by a lectin because it's stuck to it, let's say you had pasta and it has lectin in it because it has gluten. Gluten is the lectin. Then my hair would stop growing because that growth recepting point got blocked. Or let's say the happiness hormone was supposed to be sending messengers to my brain and it gets blocked, so I get depressed. Amazing how many connections get messed up because of these particles that get into our body because of what we are eating or what we are ingesting, whether it's through our skin or my husband and I had cashews maybe a week ago, despite knowing that cashews contain a lot of lectins, those nasty proteins that cause inflammation, and it depends on how much of a resistance you have to these lectins. Well, apparently I don't have much resistance, because 15 minutes later I was sneezing, I was coughing, my nose was going crazy. Turns out that your nose gets full of mucus, not to be gross, but it gets full of mucus to get rid of whatever irritant it is, and that was the lectin in the cashews. God. I'm super excited that one of my favorite snack foods can be found here. These huge bags of walnuts at Costco, and they're $10.99. Turns out they're even cheaper than at Aldi or even at Menards. My God, my husband is the ultimate bargain hunter. Let's see what else we can find for this new way of eating. So if you don't like doing flour tortillas or trying to stay away from it, this is one I'd recommend. The almond flour tortilla from Siete brand. Siete as in 7 in Spanish. It is in the right before the dairy door in the St. Louis Park Costco. It works really well. I know that I was grilling with it to make quesadillas a couple weeks ago. It's got a lovely flavor on itself, or you can put cheese on it or whatever you want. But grain-free, and let's see here, paleo, non-GMO, gluten-free, so they're a nice purple wrapper, Siete brand, heated and wrap it says, almond flour tortillas, really tasty, and I think they're 12 bucks, so that's one alternative to whole wheat flour if you're trying to avoid lectins. Okay, I'll see what else we've got. Alright, so this is another option for sweetener if you don't want to do honey or. And what I like about the look of this, at least from Whole Earth, this green resealable bag, is that it is eco-friendly in that sense. It's not multi-pack. It's erythritol and monk fruit, which I believe Gundry mentioned in his Plant Paradox book that that's an okay type of sweetener. It's a 1-to-1 sugar replacement, and it is, let's see here, $8.99 for 2-pound bag. This is at Costco. Have not tried it myself. I have had erythritol, just not from this brand. But I do like it. You could reuse this bag for multiple ways, which you cannot do if it is multi-packs, single serve. This is awesome. I'm excited to try it. Alright, now I get to use my outdoor voice. I'm in the dairy section of Costco in St. Louis Park here. I'm showing you this purple A2 organic whole milk in case you have realized that you're having trouble with regular milk, because I have learned from the Plant Paradox book that this, I'm just showing you different sides of it, this is a 3-pack of milk, that A2 milk, it's a type of protein that I believe it's Northern European cows don't have, so they don't have those lectin-like casein protein that acts like a lectin and sticks to stuff. That's what lactose intolerant people tend to react to. So if you don't want to do sheep's milk or goat's milk, this is a different kind of whole milk. It tastes like regular milk. It just doesn't have that nasty effect on your gut. Whether it's grass-fed protein or grass-fed milk, I do not know. I don't see it on there. So anyhow, this might be a good option for you. And it is $12.49 and it's organic. Woohoo! Yay! It doesn't taste any different from the other kind, but it's not making people as sensitive. Yay! D3 is incredibly critical for so many body functions. I knew that it was important, especially for mood, but I didn't realize how high of a dose a person needs. I mean, way higher than I thought, way higher than even 4,000 international units. I'm not sure I'm ready to make the move to go higher because I'm still transitioning my mindset from having my psychiatrist tell me versus a nutritionist versus Gundry. But Dr. Gundry has looked through a microscope, through blood work, for all of his results, which is why he is incredibly credible. A lot of physicians at the Mayo Clinic were not familiar with his work, but maybe we're not looking at blood work of patients every 3 months. He has cured people of Crohn's, of rheumatoid arthritis with his food plan. It's really impressive. And it's not about eliminating forever. It's maybe trying for a few months to see what works and what doesn't. He So what was the other thing here? That NSAIDs, non-steroid anti-inflammatory devices, those pills that were popping for pain, terrible for the gut lining. Oh my God, there were holes in it, creating that leaky gut. I knew about it, but just the way he describes it, he's very entertaining. Once again, he adds humor into it, calling different molecules little pieces of shit. And then also, I can't help wondering, he mentions about plastics, phthalates. They might be in my work gloves. I'm going to check because I don't want my hands to be absorbing plastics because they disrupt hormones. God, but seriously, get this book, the Plant Paradox book, if you want to be finding out which foods to tweak in your diet. Some beans he mentioned can be pressure cooked so that it destroys those nasty lectins that really mess up your system. In some cases, some grains you can't do anything about. It doesn't destroy the lectin. For example, oatmeal, you can't destroy the lectin in it. I'm not going to be eating oatmeal, at least not nearly as much. So, what else was there? I think that was the main thing, but seriously, check it out. Highly entertaining. And of course, he's got a program for you to sign up if you can't do it on your own. I mean, he's essentially, in a way, a health coach. 6 weeks worth of program, and he follows how people are doing with the food. Yes, he sells supplements. Yes, he has his own brand of, I think, beverages, and he does work with a nutritionist. So the nutritionist creates the recipes. He's an entrepreneur. He is probably making more money from the inside of the book as far as the program and the supplements than he is from the book itself. I don't care. I'm benefiting from it either way. Thank you so much, Dr. Gundry. And thanks for listening to me. You will notice some suggestions from Costco as to what you can get there if Costco's in your neighborhood. Otherwise, I think he's mentioned Fresh Thyme. Just try it if you want to feel better, look better. What do I know? It's been making a difference for me too. Finding out what I react to more. So that's really exciting. And I think that's it for now, and then I'll just close. I just had another insight that's got to do with this Plant Paradox book you've been learning about through my episodes, and thanks again for staying with me. The apple cider vinegar that my husband Norm and I have been using for years is actually from Costco. I didn't realize it. I don't like to do most of the shopping, and so he's the one who goes and gets the stuff. This is North Coast raw unfiltered apple cider vinegar, and it is actually from Costco, and I think it's in a 6-pack. It's amazing. Now, what do we use this for? As a probiotic. And we learned about apple cider vinegar as a probiotic with the help of our naturopath, Roseanne Lindsay, who's actually my cousin. And it was just wild because it sounded absurd to me at first when she taught us, but I thought, well, she knows what she's doing, why not try it? And it's really tasty. We take about a regular 8-ounce glass and 2 tablespoons of this apple cider vinegar, mix it into some water, 8 ounces of water, sometimes add a little bit of raw honey. But that has kept us as healthy as we have been throughout COVID and through other hard times. It's really tasty. So other than using sauerkraut or pickles or other fermented foods, apple cider vinegar is a great idea. And it works really well for your gut buddies, as Gundry would call it. So yeah, kudos to Costco for carrying that when they carry it. Now, it's been a pretty good supply lately, and it's affordable, it's really cool. I have not learned yet how to make it myself. That'll be the next thing, right? Anyhow, but the other thing I also noticed was that Roseanne's book, The Nature of Healing, since she is a naturopath and herbalist, this is not Roseanne, it's her daughter. Let's see here, that's Roseanne. Anyway, I didn't realize that in her book she actually talks about how you can reverse chronic conditions like MS. First time I read that was in Gundry's book, but I didn't realize that the book she wrote, that Roseanne wrote probably 10 years ago or maybe more, mentions that. She talks about a lot of gut health. I mean, that's what she deals with. And that was when I started getting interested in it, was when, well, one of the reasons was when we were getting treatments from her. It's really cool. So even though she doesn't mention lectins in her book that I can recall, that I can see, and that's where he takes over, essentially, with mentioning lectins. I think maybe their blood tests were more developed by the time he got into the picture. It's still a super interesting read, and she talks about how vibrationally the supplements you take match up with the place in the body that needs it, because everything is energy and everything has a vibration. Though like matches like, meaning whatever vibration is equal to the vibration that is being put into your body, that's where it wants to go to. Like calcium going into the bones, I guess they have similar vibration. Just read the book, I'm not that great at explaining it, but I was just really amazed. So here's the book again, Nature of Healing, and I think it's on Amazon. Either way, very, very cool. Just awesome read. Thanks again for tuning in, and yes, it's pitch dark, but I just had this inspiration I had to tell you. Alright, here's to your good gut health. I know that sounds weird, but it's true, because if your gut's healthy, then you're healthy. There is definitely that mind-body connection going on. Alright, tell me what's your favorite probiotic in the comments below, okay? Because cider vinegar is not the only one, but dang it, it's tasty. See you later. Well, no one said we were going to go cold turkey. Here is one of the highest lectin foods. Corn, popcorn, woo, yay! I've got to have it sometimes, right? Thanks for tuning into this series. We appreciate you.